Hey, Brother Kevin, it's Dave at HPR.
Hey, how are ya?
Hey, what's going on, bro? How you doing?
Doing good. I'm great. I'm ready to come out to Hawaii.
I love it. It is HPR, member-supported Hawaii Public Radio. I'm Dave Lawrence. All things considered, grateful to have you here. Tonight in Honolulu, we have a very special guest coming through town. He's going to be on the show with us right now, and then he's going to be at the Blue Note for a 6:30 show before he heads over to Maui's EAL Theater for a Friday and Saturday engagement, 7:30 each night. It is comedian, director, actor Kevin Farley. Kevin is also part of the Netflix series F is for Family, animated adult sitcom. And we're going to hopefully find out whether his comedic and acting talents might even have a genetic thing, because his older brother is the late, great Chris Farley, his younger brother, the very talented John Farley, so you can imagine what I'm thinking. He was part of the famous Chicago comedy troupe Second City. He was in movies like Black Sheep, Waterboy, Joe Dirt, American Carol, and I was on that sitcom Together with the fake boy band. He was been on TV shows aplenty, like Curb Your Enthusiasm and Hawaii Five-0. And we're going to hear all about it right now as we welcome him to All Things Considered. Brother Kevin, aloha, mahalo. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm glad to hear from you, and I'm really excited to come out there.
Well, it's great to have you doing the gig. And so before we hear a little bit about some of your fascinating history, which merges with Hawaii, what's in store for folks at the show? It's just you by yourself, or what's going on there?
Yeah, I've been doing stand-up now for about 8-9 years, and I talk, it's about an hour-long show, a little under an hour, and, I talk about all kinds of stuff, my life growing up, relationships, food issues, kind of slice-of-life stuff, that I've been going through, that kind of thing.
And you got a little history with Hawaii. You were on Hawaii Five-0, I was looking at, and so tell us some stories about that. And I believe when you did that, wasn't Pauly Shore on with you too?
Yeah, I did an episode of Hawaii Five-0 with Pauly Shore and Jaleel White, and we did an episode, kind of a takeoff of The Hangover. We played accountants that were in Hawaii, and we ended up finding a girl murdered in our bathtub.
Oh,
yeah.
That's no good.
No, that's no good at all.
And so you got to interact with the cat. And how long did you, when you do something like that, I've always been curious, is it in a day, a couple days, weeks? What kind of time frame is something like that?
We shot for about 10 days in Honolulu. So that was fun. I love that set. It's such a great people that work on that show. And I just had a blast the whole time.
Do you know those cats?
Well, I got to know them, during the time. I hadn't hung out with him too much before that, but we bonded on that set, and we really had a great time. I really enjoyed that show. I was very lucky to get it.
He's amazing how he sounds so American when he's talking, and then off camera, that Australian accent comes out.
Yeah, I know. It's funny, but he's a sweet, nice guy.
Yeah. No.
And we had a great time, yeah.
He's super cool. What's your connection with the islands? You've been out, you got you got a house here. What do you do? What's your relationship to Hawaii?
Oh, I just like to I like to visit, and play golf. I usually go to the Kahala sometimes. I've been there a few times. I just love going out there, It's my favorite place to go,
You done stand-up here before?
Never done stand-up. That's why this is the first time I've done stand-up in Hawaii, so I'm really looking forward to it.
And what's the story with you and your brothers? As I was introducing you, you got 3 really talented cats, all with this similar gift or passion. Is that your mom and dad? Is that the water where you were growing up? Like, what exactly did this?
I think kind of like the way we grew up. My dad had an asphalt company. We all worked for that for a little while. And then Chris got involved with comedy. And then I thought, Second City down in Chicago was, when I first saw Second City, I thought, wow, this is something I'd love to do. So I went down there after I was working for Dad in the mid-'90s. And then I just started doing Second City. And I loved it so much, going out on a touring company. And I just learned so much from there. And I've always been doing it since, and then I started doing stand-up a little later in my career, but it was primarily started off with improv because Chris kind of paved the way for us down that way.
Were you guys all a bunch of pranksters as kids?
We didn't like pranks, but we did try to crack each other up a lot, you know. We stayed away from pranks because that usually ended up in a fist fight. So, but we liked to crack each other up a lot, you know. So we would do characters, and we really liked Saturday Night Live and Carol Burnett. So growing up with that, we just started doing characters a lot of times and cracking each other up a lot.
And from what you're saying, it sounds like Chris was like the beginning of the comedy thing, and then all of you just kind of connected from there?
Yeah, he was always trying to make the family laugh, and then we thought, well, I don't know what else he could do for a living, so why not do comedy? And so he went down there, and he turned out he was really good on stage. So he rose up the ranks fast, and I went out, and I followed him, and my little brother John followed him too. So that's how we just started doing it, you know.
And so he'd be on like SNL. Would you go and hang out and watch and stuff?
All the time, you know, especially if there was a good music act. You know, I like that. You get front row seats in a great concert. But, you know, all the time we went and saw him. We loved him on there.
That's funny. And is that how you relate? Because another thing about you that's kind of interesting when you look at your career is a lot of the cats that sort of surrounded him are surrounding you, like people like David Spade, Adam Sandler. Did you get hooked up through him with them, or how did that work?
Yeah, I think after Chris passed away, I hung out with Spade a lot, and I toured with Norm Macdonald and David. I opened up for those guys on the road, and that's kind of how I learned stand-up through those guys. They were very helpful.
You got this cool podcast that you do on the road. Talk a little bit about that and some of the stuff you talk about in that thing. And maybe are you gonna record one while you're here?
Yeah, I think so. I think what I do is I'm on the road. Sometimes I do it in like New York, and I talk about my experiences on the road. I meet new comics, and I meet guys that are starting out, you know, and I talk to them what their life is like, you know, whether they be in Dallas or Tulsa, and they're trying to start out. And I talk to them about their, you know, ups and downs of the business and that kind of thing. So I really enjoy doing my podcast. It's fun.
What's some of the stuff from it? Tell us some stuff that you've been talking about on that.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of guys that I talk to that are, you know, they might be in Dallas and they want to get to New York, and maybe they have a kid or something, and they start out doing open mics, and then they maybe get a middling spot or something like that. And they're trying to work, you know, trying to get together like 10 minutes, and it's frustrating. And, you know, we talk about how bad crowds can be sometimes, and sometimes when you have a good crowd, and the good clubs versus the bad clubs, and the bad gigs versus the good gigs. You know, it's a pretty long road for a person, you know, starting out in a town that doesn't have a lot of stand-up. So there's a lot of ways that these guys are pretty, you know, they persevere a lot. And so it's interesting. They always have great stories, and they're very hardworking guys, and they have a dream, and they want to follow it. And so I really enjoy talking to them, you know, and I learned a lot from them, too.
It sounds like an advice column for people who want to be comedians, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and it's a real life stories of what's real out there, you know?
That is fun. And do any of your comedian friends, who's the other cat who we had on? Is it Kevin Nealon who does this thing where they're like walking, or I don't know, a bunch of you guys do like these bits where, you know, like do any of your friends appear on the podcast with you?
Yeah, anyone whenever I ask them, they usually say no, but if they do, then yeah. But I have a trouble, I don't know. When you ask somebody to do your podcast, their first reaction is like, oh, man. But I'll take anybody. I like, you know, a lot of my friends that, you know, they're busy too, but it's hard to get them, you know, enough time. But when they do, they're very nice about it, yeah.
And you do a bunch of, or you've done a few commercials. I see Dairy Queen, followed in OJ's footsteps with Hertz. Are those things
yeah.
Are those like agents get you those, or how do those things come about?
Yeah, I don't want to follow an OJ's after this. It's just the Hertz thing, yeah. But, no, yeah, I have a commercial agent, you audition like anything else. And, you know, once in a while you book those things. They're pretty good money, you know. And then they go away. and you try to get another one. But I go in for commercials all the time.
What'd you do on the Dairy Queen? Were you doing the Blizzard?
Yeah, we had a Dairy Queen Blizzard, and I forget what I did on that one. I know I was eating a bunch of Blizzards. I know that. I wanted to get paid in Blizzards.
When you did the Hertz thing, you weren't like, what did OJ used to do? He was running through the airport or something crazy like that?
Yeah, he was running. Yeah, he ran through the airport. Yeah.
You can't even do that now without causing chaos if you start running through the airport.
I know, but if somebody saw OJ running through the airport now, that'd make the news, that's for sure.
They didn't make you do anything like that, huh?
Well, I did have to run, but I wasn't trying to run like OJ. I couldn't really run like OJ. But I did have to run in that commercial. I ran into a car, in fact.
In the ad itself.
Yeah, I think I did. I ran into a car. I ran away or something like that. I remember running away. And I don't know what I did.
You were talking about those musical. Who'd you get to see? Do you have any memories of like the people you got to see on SNL when you were there to see Chris?
Yeah, I saw Vanilla Ice. My first show was Vanilla Ice. Ice Baby. I'll never forget it. That was exciting. I'd never seen anything like it, and I never seen Vanilla Ice before. But wow, he was great, and that was at the height of his fame. So it was just an electric experience. I love Saturday Night Live.
Oh, I bet. Is that because I was looking at your thing? You've gotten to do. We're talking with right now Kevin Farley, and he's coming to town. He's got a date here in town tonight, and then he's headed over to the EL Theater for Friday and Saturday shows. And you have a connection to some other bands though too. And I don't know if this is the definitive list, but Lifehouse, Nickelback, Rascal Flatts. You were in music videos for all these guys.
Yeah, it's funny because for Lifehouse and Nickelback, I knew a director named Nigel Dick who directed me and my boy band together. And he was a video director. He would put me in these videos, from time to time. And I was very appreciative. Nickelback one was great. That was like a big party in Pasadena, and I played a beer truck driver. And the one for Rascal Flatts, my friend Christy Swanson called me and wanted me to be in the Rascal Flatts video, and I was just, of course, and we had a blast doing that. And those guys are really fun. I got to know those guys on that shoot. I love Rascal Flatts, yeah.
What are your favorite bands?
Oh, yeah, my favorite bands would probably be, I like Neil Young, I like Van Morrison, and yeah, those are I like classic rock bands pretty much.
I see a picture.
I'm an old man.
I see a picture of you with Paul McCartney. Where was that at?
Oh yeah, well Chris did an SNL skit with Paul McCartney, and I just went up to him and at the 40th or 50th SNL reunion, and I asked him for a picture, which was kind of scary, but he was nice, and he said, sure, let's take a picture. But he remembered Chris, and he remembered doing the sketch and that kind of thing. So my brother John and I got a photo with him.
Oh, that's huge.
That was the thrill of a lifetime, yeah.
I bet. And when you say it was scary, is that because he's like ringed with security or what? Tell us the story. Why was it scary?
Just because he's a Beatle and I'm nobody, and so I was a little nervous approaching him, So, I mean, he's a Beatle, for that.
Right.
I love the Beatles, and so, I don't know. I was just a little nervous, but I wasn't as nervous as Chris used to get. He used to get really nervous around celebrities, but I was, stammering, and, I was just nervous.
Well, on that musical note, and you mentioned the boy band Together, now that the Backstreet Boys have reunited, maybe it's time that Together could have a renaissance itself. What do you think?
I think it'd be great. I love that boy band. We were a mock boy band, and we were kind of poking fun at the whole genre. I was a 36-year-old balding guy in the band, and I think we got so good that some of our fans thought we were real, and that kind of got a little weird. But yeah, I would definitely go and do that again. I had a ball doing that. I mean, if those guys wanted to do it, I would for sure.
It'd be great, a double bill. You could open for Backstreet Boys at like the Forum.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
And you were something on a more serious kind of note, but maybe not. You did this American Carol movie, and I was taking a look. A lot of major cats in that too. Parody of Michael Moore.
Yeah.
What inspired that? And have you gotten a response from Michael?
No, I think I saw him at a party, and he was kind of laughing about it. You know, we were poking fun at him. That was a political movie that, you know, and I get kind of labeled as being a political person, but I'm really not political. But I just wanted to work with David Zucker because he did Airplane and all the movies I grew up with and I loved, like Airplane and Naked Gun. And I got an opportunity to work with David, so I said, sure, you know. But it's a poking fun at Michael Moore and how during our movie he wants to eliminate 4th of July, which is kind of funny. And I just love working with that Zucker kind of style, you know, that, you know, deliver the lines seriously, but they're very silly. And I just had a blast working on that show.
Is that how did he bring along Leslie Nielsen? What a cool thing to have had him in there.
Leslie was there. Yeah, God, it was such an honor to meet him, you know, and I think he started that style of just, you know, he came from a dramatic acting. And so, you know, he was delivering the lines in a very serious way, but they were very silly lines, you know. And so that style was something that the Zuckers came up with. And, you know, that is like comedy history right there, you know, for me. I loved it.
Who are your comedian heroes?
Well, my comedian, like Mel Brooks, David Zucker, certainly, and his brothers. And I enjoyed Harvey Korman, you know, I like John Belushi and Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd. I like the old guys, I guess you could call them. But today I like Sebastian. I don't know. He's really awesome. I think he's one of the funniest. Maniscalco. I love him. So those are my big favorites.
And I guess there's a lot of just revelation in what both influenced your brother, but also influenced you when you made a pretty cool thing as a tribute to him. I Am Chris Farley, the documentary that you did.
Yeah, we came out with that a couple years ago, and we wanted to put together something that, you know, told of his story, you know, from the point of view of the people that worked with him, you know. So we got together a pretty good cast, you know, Sandler, Dan Aykroyd, David Spade, you know, and they talked about what it was like to work with Chris. And, you know, I think I'm pretty proud of that one. That came out a few years ago, yeah.
And you've also gotten to be executive producer at times. You've been director at other times. How does it work when you end up in one of those roles? Is somebody asking you about that? You looking to be in charge of something? Or explain a little bit.
Well, with that particular documentary, I was executive producer, and so I oversaw the project. But the only ones that I directed are
Paranormal Movie,
right, and Hollywood and Vine, or Hollywood and Wine, and you know, those are directing itself is really hard work, you know. And I don't get too many offers to direct, you know. But when I do, if it's the right project, I love it because. It's a very creative thing to do, but it's a lot of work, and, you know, you put a lot of time and effort into something like that, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I can only imagine how much work something like that
a lot of work, yeah.
Tons of it. So what else?
Tons of it.
Yeah, it just does sound not the kind of job I want to sign up for. But when you so as we get ready for these shows, like what's on your mind? Give me some of the stuff you're going to be talking about on stage.
Yeah, I like to talk about just eating. I love to eat, and my relationship, my girlfriend, my family growing up. You know,
what's up with the girlfriend?
You know, we're a funny couple. I think we get into a lot of weird situations. She's coming with me to Hawaii, so I talk about some of the stuff we get into. You know, I mean, she's a funny girl, Michelle went, and I talk a lot about her and I's relationship, and then I talk a little bit about just my growing up in the Midwest, you know, that kind of stuff, and I don't get too political with my act because I know I don't want to get in trouble with anybody. So I keep it pretty light and fluffy, and everybody just has a good time.
That's cool. Well, that's a nice thing. I'm sure people appreciate that. And after Hawaii, what will be coming up next professionally that we can keep an eye out for, other than, I guess, F is for Family continuing on? That has like another season and more roles for you?
Yeah, I've got a couple voices on that show. Bill Burr is a good friend of mine, and I love Bill, and I love his work. And he gave me a voice of the neighbor Babe, and also the baggage handler Carl, and the TV owner repairman. And so, he'll throw me a couple voices on there, which I enjoy doing a lot. And I love that show. It's such a great show.
What else besides that can we plug?
That and my podcast right now. Those are the two things. And my stand-up is what I've been busy doing.
Well, we are going to hope for a large crowd tonight at the Blue Note. I hope so, too. 6:30 show, and then he heads to the historic EL Theater Friday and Saturday at 7:30. And so these are going to be debut gigs, basically, for you doing your bit here in the Aloha State.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. I love going to Hawaii. This is the first time I've worked there in stand-up, so I hope people come out because I won't disappoint. I'll have a good time. We're going to have fun.
Remember, if it doesn't go well, it's Hawaii, so when you got to really duck because they throw pineapples here.
Hey, that hurts. Wow. That'll really hurt.
I'm joking. But Kevin Farley, great to have you on the show, and I really do appreciate you taking some time to be with us on All Things Considered, brother.
It's my pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you guys out there. Hey, it's Kevin Farley, and yes, I'm back for HPR's Pledge Drive. And I'm hanging out with my good friend Dave Lawrence at All Things Considered. Since you're listening, do you have any idea how much this show costs? Trust me, you don't want to see our bill. So do the right thing and make a little contribution, or I'll send the whole bill to you.
Perfect. Hugs, high fives, and hopefully I'll get a chance to say hi when you're in town. And I'm rooting for you, cuz.
Thanks a lot, Dave.
Good talking to you, Kevin. Be safe.
Okay, thanks. You too.